was walking with my donkey searching for you.
See, the great thing is when you're using the science of behavior, it doesn't matter whether you're working with a donkey or a horse or a mule, it's all the same. And people say, Ben, have you got, do you have some stuff about working with mules? I'm like, yeah, no. Because it's not different. Working with mules is just the same as working with horses. The problem is everybody puts horses as the standard. Well, you got to work with horses like this, and is that different? We got it the wrong way around. If you can work with a mule, you can work with anything. The only difference is you have to do the right things with a mule, because they have that sense of self-preservation, which means if you break the trust, what is trust, everybody? See?
The ability to predict what another animal or human is going to do.
Wow, you're good. You're good. The ability to predict the behavior of another animal or person. How do you get trust? You're consistent. If you're not consistent, you're not trustworthy, because I can't predict your behavior. So when you do this sneaky thing, I'm going to catch you. You just lost all the consistency. You can consistently be sneaky. They can trust you to be sneaky, but I ain't going to help you catch them. So we have to work on that. So through the years that I've been doing this, what I've come to try and do for people is to say, look, the field of behavior is a massive topic. And I want you to actually be able to take something home today that will transform the way you work with your donkeys. So I'm going to give you the 6 key steps. Oh yeah, that's 6. I'm going to give you 5 and then a bonus. I'm going to give you 6 key steps to working with behavior. Now, there are hundreds of things you can do working with behavior, but the problem is our brains are not designed to think about 100 things. But if I can give you these 6 steps and you can do these 6 steps well, and you focus on just these 6 steps, you will see a massive improvement in everything you do. Now, it's the 80-20 rule. I think Plato, an Italian economist, worked out that 80% of the wealth of Italy was in 20% of the population. And you probably all heard it since, 80% of your 20% of your customers provide 80% of your income. 80% of people on Facebook waste 300% of your time. That's Ben's rule. Now, the thing with this is, I think if you concentrate on these 6 things, that's like 20%. But you're going to see an 80% improvement in your communication with your donkey or mule or animal. You just got to get these things right. So, what are the 6 things? One at a time. Here we go. You have to understand the true nature of the species you are working with. Now, this applies to children, donkeys, everything. But if we take in donkeys, we have to understand the true nature is this balance between the flight and fight mechanism. Now, if you've been a horse owner, and most of you may, or some of you may have been through this transition to understand that donkeys are slightly different from horses. And that's what I'm talking about. It's understanding the true nature of the animal that you're working with. And it's really easy. You start talking about flight mechanism, you talk about equines, and people say, okay, they're a flight animal. We know that donkeys have a little bit more of the fight mechanism because of their ancestry, and they're going to be territorial and those sorts of things. But what does it actually mean? You see, being a flight animal, actually, when you think about it, especially, it's easy to think about the difference between horses and donkeys. So if you're a horse, okay, you're in a herd, and you see something scary like a mountain lion, you got to run. You freeze first, and you maybe fidget, and because you've got to assess. If you just run straight away, you lose a lot of energy. Maybe it's stuff you didn't need to run from. But generally, the idea is you run away from stuff. But that's not the secret of survival if you're a horse. The secret of survival is the communication between yourself and the rest of your herd. See, if I'm a horse and I see a mountain lion, I go, oh, there's a mountain lion. Geez, I'm getting out of here. And I just quietly walk to the other side of my herd, and now they're going to get eaten, but I'm not. That's really cool because I'm safe. But what happens when a member of my herd sees a mountain lion and I don't? So the key thing about horse communication is this. Ah! Sorry, my mistake, fluffy bunny. It's that communication, it's the visual, it's the tail up, it's the body tone, it's the eyes, the flaring nostrils. It's really easy, isn't it, to see when a horse is scared. But a donkey comes from an environment where their ancestors lived on their own, maybe with last year's offspring, or in a, they have a territory around a watering hole. So if you live on your own, running away from everything isn't necessarily the best survival technique, because your foal gets eaten or you're still being chased. But if you have a territory, running away from everything means when you get back, there's no territory because somebody else has taken it. If you show huge amounts of fear, predators can target you and recognize that much easier, and other jacks will come and attack you because they can see you're fearful or in pain, which is why donkeys are so stoic and don't show pain as much. So you've got this animal that's naturally much more internally subdued. You have to figure that out with donkeys. That doesn't mean to say your donkey is not at the same level of fear that a horse is at. So you get that horse, you take him to something scary, he goes, oh. People go, oh, okay, I can see that. Hopefully they do that. And you say, okay, he's scared, I can see that. You take a donkey to the same thing, he goes, it's a bit worrying. You go, hey, come on, let's do it. And he's like, oh, I'm not sure. Come on. No, I really can't do that. And people see this and they make a calculation based on the horse body language fear scale. They go, hang on, my horse doesn't look like that. Even if you've never had a horse, you've got the horse body language fear scale because you've seen horses in movies. You've seen horses at the racetrack. You've seen all this stuff. And so what you do is you put the donkey on the horse body language fear scale and you go, well, he doesn't look that scared, but he won't do what I want him to do. So if he doesn't look that scared and he's not doing it, he must be just stubborn. And there's the misconception. So you have to understand the true nature of the animal that you're working with. And that then is the foundation that changes everything else. Because if you're going to start labeling your animal as difficult, as naughty, as deliberately trying to do things to outsmart you, he knows what I want him to do, but he's just not choosing to do it. You are so far from understanding the behavior and workings of the equine brain that you're never going to get there. Okay? And the common thing I see a lot of is he's just taking the mickey. There are other versions, but children may be listening to the video later. And so he's just taking the mickey, he knows what I want him to do. That's just not, deceitfulness is something that's not in the equine repertoire. He can't know that you want to catch him because you're in a rush and you got to get him in and do this, and it'll be really funny if today I don't get caught. He sees your body language going, okay, we've got to do it today, come on. He's like, what the hell is that? Not going anywhere near it. And so we mistake that as deliberate, willful, being difficult, wanting to prove us wrong, make a fool of us, do whatever it is. It's just not there. You have to understand the true nature of the species. What? And then, step 2. You have to be able to communicate. The way to communicate with your animal is through operant conditioning. Operant conditioning has 3 elements: positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, punishment. I'm not going to do this in huge detail. I'll give you some resources to look it all up afterwards. But I would suggest this is your communications. You have to know this stuff. All right? I will guarantee most people, before they've had training with me, will not understand the principles that they are using all the time. Okay, so people will get mixed up between punishment and negative reinforcement. So I'll really quickly give you a couple of definitions here. I'm not going to discuss it with you because it's just the way it is. You know, it's really hard. People get this stuff. Okay, so let's start with some punishment. Punishment is anything that stops the behavior from happening. Now, it doesn't have to be physically painful, although that's the thing that comes to mind. You pop him on the nose, okay? Comes into your space, you give him a smack, that's punishment. Oh no, I wasn't punishing him. Yes, you were. That's punishment. You wanted to stop him coming into your space. It's punishment. Now, you might not like using punishment. That's absolutely fine. I'm not suggesting you use punishment. I'd prefer you didn't, but you have to know what you're using. It's the animal's perception that is important. If I have a foal and I give him a scratch, he turns around and he nuzzles me because that's what foals do, yeah? And I don't want him to nuzzle me. I could punish him by taking my hands off him. I've taken away something that's really nice, the scratches, to stop him from nibbling me. That is punishment. Oh my God, Ben, you're a punishment trainer. I'm so upset. It's punishment. It's the science. That's what's happening. We have to be really clear about this stuff. So, punishment has lots of side effects. It causes avoidance. It escalates. It doesn't teach the animal what to do. It tells them what not to do. If you're really good at it, it has to be big enough. Has to be with the right timing. You know, you can't get kicked and then go, oh, hey, don't do that. Because he's like, what the hell was that for? Your timing has to be spot on. And most people don't have that skill. It damages the relationship. Enough said. I'm not going to go there in this stage. Know whether you're using punishment. If you want to use punishment, that's your choice. It's not my job as a trainer to tell you how you should train, but you need to be clear and use it correctly. Use it big enough. Use it with the right timing. And be aware of the consequences. That leaves us pretty much with positive and negative reinforcement. So everybody gets a little bit out of shape when we talk about negative reinforcement. Oh my God, it's negative. No, it's not. It's the removal. Taking something away. The cessation of a negative stimulus. People hear the word negative and they think bad. They think uncomfortable. If you have a math sum and you have 5 and you take 3 away, nobody goes, oh my God, was 5 really upset? Was that really aversive to number 3 because we took it away from 5? Yeah. Oh my God, they're really upset. Okay, it's a simple thing. If I'm the negative stimulus and I reach in and my animal stands still and I release the pressure, I have just used negative reinforcement. If I pull on the lead rope, he has pressure here, he steps forward, I release the pressure. Negative reinforcement. If I squeeze here when I'm riding and he moves forward, I release the pressure. Negative reinforcement. If you get in your car to go home and it goes beep, 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 and there's a little light comes on, tells you put your safety belt on, seat belt, whatever you call them here, that's negative reinforcement. If your wife, gentlemen, is going, why don't you help more? You should do this, you should do if you did more, and we call that nagging. It's an annoying noise which is supposed to stimulate activity in the male of the species. That's called negative reinforcement, if it stops. If it doesn't stop, it's just an annoying noise and is an ineffective training method. But it's negative reinforcement. The child going, mommy, 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 it's negative reinforcement. You don't want to escalate it. You want to keep it small, you want to keep it minimal, and you need it with good timing. So when you get that animal that leans forward, that might be the release of pressure. You step in and that animal goes, oh, and it leans back to you, that might be the release of pressure. Your timing is your communication. You cannot be thinking about what you're going to do later, what you've done earlier, and get your timing right. You need to be in the moment. So reinforcement, anything that makes the behavior stronger, so we take something away, make the behavior stronger. Positive reinforcement, we're going to add something to make the behavior stronger. Scratches, food, freedom, those sorts of things could class as positive reinforcement. People worry about food. Food does not cause equines to bite. It is the timing of food which causes equines to bite. Timing is your communication. Your animal comes up and it gives you a nozzle and you go, oh bless. Now he knows what to do. And when you don't give him the food, the behavior will escalate, so he'll try harder. It's what we call a vending machine syndrome. You know, you got a vending machine, put the money in, press the buttons, nothing happens, what do? Oh, some of you are a little bit aggressive. Yeah, I was just going for, I didn't say what sort of vending machine it was. See, it depends on how, I just bottle of water, chocolate's going to produce different sort of things. But the point is this, right? You actually press the buttons, you do it again, nothing happens. Maybe you did give it a kick, and if that moment, out comes the chocolate bar, kicking works. Yes. Next time you go to a vending machine, push the money in, press the buttons, do this stuff, and nothing comes out, what are you going to do? Kick it, but nothing happens. What do I do now? Kick it harder. That's what donkeys are doing all day. Negative reinforcement is the biggest cause of behavioral problems that I see. The bad timing of negative reinforcement. Donkey comes up, oh, what are you doing? Don't do that, that's really naughty. Yes, so naughty, you're scratching me. Jumps up and down, we release the pressure because we're worried. Now the animal's going to learn that that's working. All of these things are going on constantly. Positive reinforcement, really good tool. Food, scratches, most people don't scratch hard enough to actually give a reinforcement. You never ever saw two donkeys come up to each other and pat each other. Nor do they rub each other between the fore. That's not in their ethogram. Really hard wither scratches. Oh, my donkey doesn't like wither scratches. Really? Okay, so maybe try chest scratches, inside the leg, on the bottom. Try it harder. Again, what we do as humans is we go, he doesn't like this. Well, the donkey's perhaps saying to you is, I don't like it just there. I don't like it that hard. I don't like it with that brush. We just generalize. You need to ask them different questions. So we got positive reinforcement, we've got negative reinforcement, then we got to shape some behavior. That's step 3.